All right, looks like we are live. Hi, everybody. Just tag everybody here so you can see that I'm here. We're on. Come and find us, team. Here we go. Hey, Crystal. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. All right, we'll just give it a moment to see if anyone else is going to join us live. Thanks for joining. Hey, Glenna, can see you watching. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, hi team, and welcome to Transform with Plants, the live experience inside plant-based health and weight loss support Facebook group. So I'm Karen. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Leslie. I'm Karen, the Plant Power Coach, and I help people lose weight on a plant-based diet. So if you're vegan or plant-based, or you want to be, and weight loss is your goal, then you're in the right place. Keep watching. So while there is so much incredible research on the benefits of a plant-based diet for our health, for our longevity, the reality is that being vegan or plant-based doesn't actually guarantee weight loss success. So if you are struggling with either where to start, what to do, you're struggling with consistency, on-off cycles, or you know exactly what to do and you just can't make yourself to do it, then please keep listening, because in these episodes, I dive into all things nutrition, habits, mindset, emotional patterns that can help you get unstuck and on the road to success. So if you're looking for quick fixes or hacks or potions or powders or MLM, what is it? GLP-1 drinks, that's not me. I don't do that. This is not the right place for you. So if you are looking for long-term strategies to achieve long-term success, then you're in the right place. Success requires understanding ourselves, our bodies, our mind, our emotions, and our behavior at a deeper level so that we can change our behavior and achieve that healthy weight loss and the long term. Okay, so just see who's watching here. Thanks for joining us. Good morning, Leslie. Good to see you. Give us a like and a love if you're joining. That way it just helps other people find the like as well. Tell us where you're tuning in from, team. All right, so today's session, we're going to talk about a common behavior that many of us have faced when we are trying to lose weight, and that is the shame and guilt and binging spiral that happens after we've made a mistake or when we've had a big emotion that we don't know how to cope with. All right, does that sound familiar to any of you? Let me know in the comments if it does. So it might sound like, oh, I was doing so well and then something happened in my life and I stuffed it up and I had a bit of an emotional binge, and then I felt guilty, and then I beat myself up, and then the shame spiral came, and I thought, fuck it, I might as well just keep going. I've stuffed everything up, I might as well just keep going because I don't really care anymore. I just want to feel good. So today I'm sharing the real reason you're sabotaging your progress when life gets emotional, and why trying to be perfect is actually what's keeping you stuck. So we're going to learn about why emotional eating isn't a failure. It's just a signal. How to stop spiraling after a bad day or a bad weekend or a bad event. What to do when shame and old coping habits show up. And I'll talk you through the 5-step process that my client used to rebound faster and keep her 40 pounds off. So this is your reminder that you don't have to be perfect to succeed. You need to build the skill of bouncing back quickly after a mistake, all right, no matter how long that mistake has lasted. And that's how I help. One of the ways I help my clients achieve their goals and keep the weight off for good. So Leslie, I see you've got your hand up. I guess this is a cycle that you've been through as well. Keep listening, my friend. Okay, so let me just start with my client's story. My client had going through a bit of an emotional patch, some challenging things happening in the family at the moment. And she has been able to master 40 pounds weight loss regardless. All right. In our early time working together, she had some very early struggles with emotional eating and, you know, that real shame spiral that comes particularly after having that first emotional eat. But she's now been able to resolve a lot of those behaviors And just recently, over the last few weeks or so, she has been keeping herself really accountable to the food that she's eating. And I've been encouraging my clients to post their food prep into our client Facebook group. And she's been posting these amazing, I call them like Wonder Woman meal prep pictures. Everyone's been going, oh my God, that's amazing, right? And then she's been posting these pictures and feeling so good about herself. And then she was going through something. There's some changes happening in her family life at the moment, and boom, big emotional trigger. The big emotional trigger led to some negative stories that led to some mistakes being made, some emotional eating, and then for a good couple of days, that spiraling binge pattern came back. But she's managed to rebound quicker instead of staying stuck in that pattern now. So it doesn't matter. The thing I want to get across to you here is it doesn't matter that we might slip back into some old patterns of behavior once in a while, right? The whole idea is that we're minimizing the amount of times this happens on our journey to success, and that we're learning to rebound faster and faster every time it does happen. Okay, let's talk about the myth of perfection to start with. You know, I talk to so many people, particularly women, who believe that, you know, we need to be perfect in order to achieve our weight loss goals. This can come from things like childhood conditioning. You know, if we think about how we're raised as children, we're taught at school that we need to do things a certain way in order to succeed. You know, we got told that there is only one way to do things, and if we do it that way, then we are going to succeed. We get taught that failure is bad. For some of my clients, they felt like they had to be perfect little children in order to win the approval of their parents. And if they were imperfect little humans, i.e., they were human and they were children, they had big emotions, right? This is what we do. If they were imperfect as a child, then love was withdrawn. So what that taught them is, oh, I have to be perfect because that's the only way I can be loved. Or from the schooling experience, I have to be perfect because that's the only way to succeed. So this stuff about being perfect is drilled into us from a very, very early age. So let me know if you recognize any of this for yourself as well. And then we've got, on top of that, we've got diet culture and all or nothing mentalities. You're either on the diet or you're off the diet, right? You've just got to follow these rules exactly and you'll lose weight. Like, just follow the program. Don't deviate. If you're not perfect, you're not going to succeed. You know, you need to be strict, right? Even that just makes me want to rebel. What about you? Hands up if you've got a bit of a rebellious streak like me. I've certainly got a rebellious streak. And I remember, you know, being a child and dad saying, no, you can't do that. Or being told what to do. And my logical mind goes, that doesn't make sense to me. Tell me why. And I wanted to rebel. I just needed to know the logics behind why exactly I had to do things that way, because that didn't make sense to me. Right. So there's that little part of us as well, that when we hear rules, that we just want to rebel, or we really want to understand why we have to be so like strict with the rules. It's like, you know, you must only cross the road at the lights, at the crossing, right? And only when the little man goes green, it's like, that if the road's clear, I'm going. I don't care. Right? That's a little bit of what we're like when it comes to diets, but it's been drilled into us, particularly in diet culture, that we have to follow the rules or we're not going to succeed. So when we think we need to be perfect to succeed or to win love, and if we can't be, you know, if we can't be perfect, we find ourselves being imperfect, because, newsflash, we're human. We're not a robot. No human is perfect, right? Then it can start that shame loop. Oh, I messed up. I suck. I'm a failure. I can't succeed, right? We start to feel terrible about the fact that we can't seem to be perfect. We feel terrible about the fact that we're human. We feel terrible about the fact that we're not perfect robots. So I may as well just keep going. I may as well just binge. I suck even more, right? And it takes us further and further into that shame cycle, that self-beat up cycle. And that cycle of numbing the pain that we're now causing because of the shitty story that we're telling ourselves about our inability to be perfect. So perfection is not the goal. As I said, you're not a robot. None of us are robots. We're humans. We live in a human world. We're surrounded by all sorts of influences that are going to influence our behavior, that are going to drag us off track at some point. It's inevitable that every now and then you're going to want to do something that makes you feel good now, especially if you're having a big emotion, right? If you're an emotional eater, every now and then you're going to experience a big emotion that's going to feel too big for you to be able to cope with, even if you're learning new tools. It's inevitable that we will slip back into chasing dopamine highs once in a while because we live in this world of artificial, like dopamine stimulating substances, right? And it's okay if we find ourselves there occasionally. On the journey to success, it doesn't require that you get rid of all of these things completely. It just requires that you minimize the amount of time that you spend there. And I want to remind you that if we stand back from the world of weight loss and we look at the world in general, we look at the picture of humanity in general, people out there are achieving incredible success in all areas of life while making massive mistakes, right? So mistakes are not the problem. We learn best when we make mistakes, particularly big ones. And I often tell myself, like, think about it like this way. Go back to when you were a child and think about, I don't know, I remember my parents saying, don't put your hand on the stove, right? I'm sure every parent has said to their child, don't put your hand on the stove. It's hot. You'll burn yourself. Now, that means nothing. They're just words to a child, right? It's like, oh, mummy told me not to do that thing. Yeah, I understand the words. I understand that it's hot. I don't really know what that means until the child puts their hand on the freaking on the stove, right? And it's hot and they get burnt. Oh, now I understand, right? We learn our lesson. Like, mum told me not to race the boys next door on their BMX bikes because I might hurt myself because we were racing towards a fence where there was gravel everywhere. So what does good old me do when the boys next door get brand new BMXs for Christmas? Oh, I've got to race them because I've got to show them that my shitty red no brand whatever bike that's probably 20 years old can beat their brand new BMXs. I mean, I did beat them. But I got to the end, saw a fence and went, oh, what do I do now? Slammed on the brakes, skidded over in the gravel, and next minute my knee is being ripped to shreds, right? We don't learn the lesson until we make the mistake. Now I understand. My mum said, don't do that, right? So mistakes are not the problem. We learn best when we make mistakes. And the most successful people in the world haven't got to where they are because they never made mistakes. They've gotten to where they are because they've turned mistakes into intelligent failure. They've learned the lesson from the mistakes that has helped them move forwards. They haven't told themselves terrible stories about who they are and taken themselves into a shame cycle, right? And sent themselves backwards. No, they've gone, oh, that wasn't right. Let's pivot that. Let's move forwards, right? No emotional attachment to the mistake. Just learning the lesson and moving forward. So avoiding mistakes here on your journey to success and weight loss is not the goal. Perfection is not the goal. Rebounding quickly after the mistake is the goal, and learning from the mistake is the goal. Learning emotional resilience is the goal, right? Instead of sending yourself back into an emotional shame spiral. Self-love, self-care, mindset mastery, that's more of the goal. So what actually creates long-term success? So my client is now, she's so much stronger now because we've done a lot of this emotional resilience work, emotional strength work. She's 40 pounds down for a reason, right? It's not because she restricted and she avoided her emotions and she just kept pushing forwards. No. It's because she's learned better tools to soothe her emotions when she has them. She's also learned that her emotions are not the problem. She's also learned that mistakes are not the problem. She's also learned that perfection is not the problem. She doesn't need to be perfect. She can drop that story. She's learned that it's okay to feel. She's learned better tools to feel and move forwards. She's still human and she still slips up every now and then, and that's okay. But she knows better now how to feel and pause and reflect and rebound better. And she just had a moment of going back into that the other day because those habits are strong. She's had a lifetime of doing this. She's in her late 60s, so she's had a lifetime of this behavior. And so, it does take a bit of time. Like, think about it this, our behaviors and our emotions and things like that, they are layers deep. And this was just a deeper layer of, emotional resilience that she needed to develop in order to get herself, out of that spiral. We were talking about how in our client call last week, we were talking about how, healing our old patterns and our old emotional wounds, it comes in layers, a little bit like an onion. Like you peel off that first layer and you think you're doing good. You think, right, that's done. I've cleared out that amount of crap, and boom, then you discover another layer underneath. But you know what? The little things that once bothered you before, they don't bother you anymore, right? So you've developed that, that first layer of emotional resilience. But then you get something deeper or bigger triggers you again. And it's like a new level of suppressed pain that you now have that beautiful opportunity to heal. I also like to say that changing our behavior and achieving our goals is a little like, playing a video game. You think about it, at that first level, you have simple skills, you have simple knowledge, you have real like basic challenges to master. And then when you've mastered those particular challenges on that first level, you get to ascend to the next level. And then at the next level, you have more skills, you have more knowledge, but the challenges also become harder. And then it continues on that pattern as you continue to master each level. And then you move towards your goals. Your skills develop, your knowledge develops, but your challenges get bigger too. I say in life, the challenges don't ever go away. Problems don't ever go away. But you just become somebody who has a greater amount of internal strength, emotional, physical, mental strength to be able to handle those challenges. And the stronger you are, the greater the challenges that you're able to face. And that's just literally what my client was going through. She just found a deeper layer of stuff that she had to deal with and master. And she just found that she flipped back into some old behavior because that was what was most familiar, because she just didn't quite have the skill yet to pick herself up. But the old version of her would have crumbled long ago. Before we started working together, she probably would have put on another 50 pounds with going through what she is going through, with the family situation at the moment. But she hasn't. She's continued to lose weight, right? And now she's only had a 2-day binge. Whereas, previously, she probably would have binged for months. So in our coaching session, what we did is we worked through how she was feeling. Right? We just brought up the feeling. She came to the call. She wasn't happy, not happy with herself at all. And there were big emotions. So we just said, okay, that's fine. Let's just feel that emotion, right? Let's just allow it to be there. And we just simply worked through allowing her to feel that, bring up all of those uncomfortable emotions, bring them to the surface. They want to be heard. We've got to stop suppressing them. When we suppress them with food, they don't get heard and they don't then get resolved. So I talked her through feeling it, processing it, stop fearing it. And once we were able to process that emotion through, then we're able to get to the core story that was creating it. Because hint, it's not what's happening in your life, in your environment, in your circumstances that's making you feel this emotion. It's not. It's how your brain is interpreting what's happening in your life or in your circumstances and the story that you are spinning about it. So we found that my client was telling herself a terrible story about being trapped. My needs don't matter. I have to put everyone else's needs first. This is never going to end. Yeah, and it's a story that didn't feel good, right? And it was one that really, when she was able to see herself, hear herself saying those things from a more emotionally regulated place, she could tell that they weren't even true. So together we were able to locate that thinking that was leading to the terrible feeling, and we're able to get to the root and turn it off. We were able to turn around the story, turn around the beliefs, neutralize them, turn them off. And that led her to feeling better afterwards. It didn't change her circumstances. We can't change the circumstance of what's going on in our life. We just can't, right? Although we do have some choices, we're never fully trapped. And that's a story we're telling ourselves too. Like, we always have choice. But she was able to change how she thought about her circumstances. And so when she feels better, the desire to binge, to numb her feelings goes away. And then she's not going into the spiral and feeling like she needs to binge to numb again. So success, my friends, isn't about being perfect. It's allowing yourself to have human emotions. Humans are designed to have emotions. They are an internal guidance system. And if we suppress them with food, we never really get to hear, we never get to understand what our needs are. We never get to hear what they're trying to tell us. So I teach my clients to feel their feelings and not fear them, right? We need to teach our brain, the lower parts of our brain, that having an emotion does not mean that there is a lion at the door waiting to kill us, right? We don't need to react. We don't need to suppress. We don't need to numb, especially with food. We need to feel them. We need to understand them. And we need to locate the story that is causing them. Because I can tell you, 9.9 times out of 10, it's not an environmental, like a literal environmental danger. Your life is not literally in danger. 9.9 times out of 10, it is your thinking, the stories that you're spinning, your beliefs, that is causing the emotion. When you have a thought, it creates chemicals that tell your body whether, hey, it's safe out here, or hey, there's danger, move. That's all that's going on. When we have a shitty thought about our environment, about what's going on in our life, it causes our body to feel unsafe. And that's why we have the emotion. That is the energy that's going through the body, trying to get you to move. If we can teach ourselves to be calm during that point when we're feeling that emotional trigger, teach ourselves just to feel it instead of reacting to it, we can put some distance between the suppression. We can also learn how to calm that nervous system down naturally with our breath, with our feeling, with our paying attention to our body and helping it feel safe. And then we can locate, from a place of being self-regulated, then we can locate the stories that we're creating. And then we can change the stories. or we can understand our deeper emotional needs better, and then we can take better action. We can get out of our shitty nappies, is what I like to say. When we feel that way, it's like we're sitting in a shitty nappy. We can keep ourselves sitting in our shitty nappy if we want to, right? We all have shitty nappies every now and then, but the idea is that we don't sit in it. When I say feel your emotions, I don't mean keep the story going up here. I mean, bring your awareness into the body and focus on the sensations. Because remember, it's the story that's creating it. So keeping the story running is keeping the body feeling unsafe, which is staying in your shitty nappy. Right? So we all have shitty nappies every now and then. It's okay. Just means you're human. I have them too, right? It's okay. But what we want to do is not sit in it. We want to own it. We want to clean it up, go and have a shower, put on your Wonder Woman pants, and remember who the fuck you are. Right? Take back your power and just own your humanity. It's okay. You're not a fraud if you're human. My client was telling us all that she felt like a fraud because she'd been posting all these amazing food prep photos in our group, and then she was off binging for 2 days, right? She's not a fraud just because she's human and had a human moment. No. You're actually strong if you learn the lesson and you do the work to locate your story, turn it around, and get yourself back up. Like I said previously, she would have fallen down for months. Now she's back up in 2 days, right? That's progress. And this is what I mean about celebrating progress over perfection. She's beating herself up for not being perfect. I'm celebrating the fact that she has made so much progress with this pattern that she now can get herself out of it in a couple of days. So here's a question for you. If you've been sitting in your shitty nappy, or if you ever do find yourself reverting back to your shitty nappy, what is the story that you are telling yourself that is causing that emotional response that keeps you stuck in that cycle of emotional suppression? So here's five tangible steps that you can take to rebound faster. One is just to pause before reacting. Just get curious and not judgmental. The next is to name the emotion, right? It's not a failure that you feel an emotion, especially if you're female. We're highly emotional creatures. We have lots of big emotions, and that's okay, right? We're also human. Human beings are meant to have emotions. As I said, they are just an internal guidance tool. There's something, it's like a brain is taking in messages from the outside world, brain, our ears, everything's taking in messages from the outside world that create chemicals in our brain that tell our body, hey, it's safe, or there's danger, move. So if you're having a big negative emotion, it just means there's a signal coming down from your brain going, there's danger out there, move. That's all that's going on. It's an internal guidance tool. Everything's safe, chill out for a while, there's danger, fucking go. If we're putting a little bit of a pause between it, we're not just reacting, all right? So your emotions are just a guidance tool. Just name it. How do you feel? I feel stressed. I feel anxious. I feel frustrated. I feel angry. I feel worried. I'm panicking. Whatever that emotion is. I feel sad. Whatever it might be, just name the emotion. Just allow yourself to feel it for a moment too. Come out of the head and just feel it with all of your awareness in your body until you no longer feel it. And then you can ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel frustrated? Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel angry? And that will reveal the story that you are telling yourself. What is the lie? Where is the lie? Where is the terrible meaning that you're making from something? What belief do you have about yourself that doesn't align with what your higher self, what your best self knows to be true about you? Where are you telling yourself that you suck? Where are you telling yourself that nobody loves you? Where are you telling yourself that you're a failure? All of that bullshit that's not even really true. Right? Identify that story that brings up that emotion. Then you'll know where the lie is. And next, you've got to go to work on the bullshit story. Interrupt it, right? Neutralize it. You don't have to flip from I suck to I'm amazing. How about I suck? I'm a human being trying new things. It's okay to make mistakes, right? I'm not here to be perfect. It's okay, whatever it is. You don't have to flip 180 degrees in your thinking. You just need to neutralize the shitty thoughts so that you feel better, so that you feel more neutral. And it turns off that stress response in your body. And when you feel more self-regulated, then I want you to take action. Because, excuse me, when you are self-regulated, you will be able to take more action that more aligns with your future self. Okay. If anyone has any questions, please drop them into the comments. Or if anyone would like to share, please drop it in. Now, as a reminder, you are not your past. You're not your mistakes. Making mistakes is not the thing that will truly hold you back. It is how fast you recover from mistakes that is key. If your emotions are tripping you up and leading you to making mistakes, and then you're telling yourself a terrible story about the mistake and it's leading you into that shame cycle, you've got to come back. First, just feel what's going on, process it through, and come back and find the shitty story that is creating that pain and causing you to make those mistakes. The faster you can go through, learn this process, the faster you are going to achieve long-term success. The more consistency you are going to build with the habits that are going to take you to the goal. It's okay to slip up every now and then. It's okay that you make mistakes. Let's learn to fail intelligently. It's how fast mistakes are okay, right? They are not going to make or break you. It's how fast or slow you recover. And whether you learn how to fail intelligently or not, or you learn the lesson, that will make you or break you. So just a reminder, the most successful people in the world have made the most mistakes. They just learn to make mistakes intelligently. All righty. Hope that was helpful, team. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, please give me a like and a love and a follow, and share this message with people, anybody you feel needs to hear it. Leslie says, I'm struggling with high protein breakfast. I'm curious to know why you think you need a high protein breakfast, Leslie, and what that looks like to you. Anyway, that's not the topic for this conversation. Maybe DM me privately on that. So, team, if you are struggling to achieve your weight loss goals and you want some help and support just getting started, I am going to be running my next free weight loss workshop in a couple of weeks, August 18th to the 22nd Australia time. So that'll be 17th to 21st for US and Canada. If you are sick of that on-off dieting cycle and want to start getting consistent, then come and join me. I'm going to teach you the truth of why we gain weight, how to lose body fat, and why traditional dieting doesn't work, i.e., it's not helping you resolve any of this underlying stuff that is kicking you off track, that is meaning that you can't stay consistent. So 98% of weight loss efforts fail. And yet, if you understand the foundations of how to get consistent long-term, then you will be one of the 2% who succeeds. So if you want to be one of the 2% who succeeds long-term, then join me. You can either reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, just pop into my inbox and say, hey, I'm interested in your weight loss workshop. Or you can head to my website where you can register, www.theplantpowercoach.com.au/TWP-opt-in. Okay. Thanks for that, team. It was great having you here. If no one else has any questions, we'll round that up for today. And I will catch you all again next week. Bye for now.